all. And you were hired on to be the deputy CEO, and then later Joanna Shields came on, who was the former Facebook vice president, I think, of the European head, and appointed the CEO.
Yep.
So was it, in your mind, was it always just 12 months, or was it like, let's just see what happens?
It was, I knew, I'm a very project-focused kind of person, so I never really was, I would see what would happen after 12 months, for sure. But I wanted to do as much as I could, and all I wanted to do was kind of respect those people who had been so lovely to me. People were so kind when I took the job on, and have been so generous to me with their time and their support. And I needed that. I needed that. After tough weeks and going to drink about and people, saying you're doing a good job, it meant everything to me. These were, I worked for these people. That's how I saw it.
It's almost like a community service you gave for a year or something.
Well, yeah, I kind of see it as national service. It's like, that was me.
Some go to the military.
And some do, right? Some do Peace Corps, and this is like Tech Corps, right? It's just like, you go in and you do your time.
Right. So you pushed a lot of those bureaucracies and boundaries, but it's like, now that you maybe have your alliances and you can actually get stuff done, do you kind of wish you were there for another year? You might be able to get more done in the next year than you got in the last year?
I think the answer is I don't know.
Right.
I'm not really sure kind of how much there's left for me or for my role to do. The community's engaged, the community's plugged in, the community's connected. The community has a voice directly to number 10 now. I don't really see what more I could do. And there's always projects, but some of these projects I can just do on my own anyway.
Yeah.
So that was the sort of challenge of I'd kind of sprinted for 12 months, and I'm tired, I'm burnt out, I'm really done. I need a break, I need a rest, and then the opportunity came up to say, let's call it done.
Yeah.
And actually working out what's next is really interesting. I'm kind of working out how I would have done things within the organisation more. I don't know. I can't see that piece. I don't really see.
I want to hear about what you have next, but if we were just going to wrap up the Tech City thing, what would you say would have been your best accomplishment while you were there, and what was your biggest disappointment?
Good question. I think the best thing I did was I managed to make it understandable of what the government was trying to do.
To the community.
Yeah.
Communication.
Right.
Yeah. I think, and kind of just being accessible, being around, not being all in Whitehall all the time. Just being on the ground and knowing people can tweet me. And
probably just being on Twitter was probably someone that they never had anyone that was probably as engaging as you are.
Right.
Maybe, but I think just, the fact that people knew me, liked me, trusted me, kind of, that really helped. Government is, a very unique organisation in the world, there's no company that can ever do what a government does. But sometimes they do a really bad job at explaining what it is they're trying to do. And so people get a bit wary about it. And actually there's that translation piece of what government's trying to do to how that actually will affect people and why it's awesome. And I think once people understood, actually, you've got people at number 10 who make change happen, make policy happen, listening to this tiny, growing, rapidly accelerating sector is kind of mind-blowing because it never happened before, ever. And we've introduced policies that UK-wide will bootstrap up digital businesses, and what they are doing, and the people inside who are doing it are inspirational and are sort of, they're like entrepreneurs for government. They are really, hacking the system. And being, able to explain that honestly, frankly, straightforwardly, without kind of bullshitting anyone, was a real kind of point of pride and something I didn't want to lose.
Okay. Disappointment.
Disappointment. I was going to say the IT curriculum, but we've actually just announced that that's going to change now. But that was, I think, whilst not a disappointment, certainly the hardest piece, because it doesn't matter how much we jump up and down and say there are amazing people doing amazing things, unless that pipeline of amazing people is there,
Right.
it's going to fall over.
This is for students in the UK, just
Yeah.
the basic, like from grade 4 on, or just like what?
Yeah, so the IT curriculum, now thankfully changing, was awful. I mean, it was like, here's an Excel spreadsheet, here's formatting, and it's like, really? Come on.
Yeah.
Like, these guys are using Facebook day in, day out, Twitter day in, day out, YouTube day in, day out. Like, they know this. Like, they know it from birth. So it's kind of trying to get them to understand the impact of it. And there are many people still, and we forget this outside of the scene, there are many people who are still scared by computers.
Yeah.
Right? They're just scared. They don't know what they are. They're worried about how it's going to impact society. So that was a really tough, long conversation, and very frustrating. It's really frustrating when you're passionate about something and they can change it. And
Is that something you fought like from day one, and it
Yeah.
took you 12 months to kind of?
Kind of.
And is that now? How long does it take for that to change? Like you change their mind. Is that implement next year, or is it in like 10
So
years?
yeah, in this case, it's going to go in next year.
Next year. So that quickly they can alter
Yeah,
it?
they can, but it's a really long conversation
Right.
to get them to do it. And a lot of it was just facilitating and saying, no, go and talk to these people. Like, they've got it. They've actually built you a curriculum. They just want you to look at it.
Yeah.
And kind of, it's like anything, right? If you hear something once, you can kind of ignore it. If you hear it twice, you're like, oh, that's that thing again. You hear it 3 times from 3 different people, 3 different places. You start to go, what is this?
Yeah.
And, kind of using all the various connections from people like Mozilla to the Cabinet Office, getting everyone to kind of coalesce and just attack all the time on this. Never give up, just constantly emailing, haranguing, hassling.
Sounds like you're a politician now.
Yeah.
Well, but that's the game you have to play.
Yeah.
Whether I like that or not, it kind of, you have to do a sort of small lobbying piece and make it happen.